What happens when an ordinary woman accidentally challenges one of the world's most powerful billionaires? Olivia Parker thought. She was just fighting for the last glass of champagne at her best friend's wedding until she discovered the arrogant stranger was Daniel Sterling, the ruthless billionaire who could destroy her life with a single phone call. Welcome back, dear friends and story lovers. Tonight, we bring you a tale where love is tested, secrets come to light, and fate takes an unexpected turn. Every moment will pull you in deeper, and every choice could change everything. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And if this story touches your heart, like, subscribe, share it with someone who believes in true love, and hit the bell so you never miss the next chapter. The crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across the marble floor of the Sterling Estate's grand ballroom. Olivia Parker adjusted the sleeve of her borrowed dress, feeling like an imposter among the sea of designer gowns and tailored suits. The wedding reception buzzed with conversation and laughter. But all she could focus on was the champagne table at the far end of the room. Hush. She had been watching that last flute of golden liquid for 5 minutes, working up the courage to navigate. Through the crowd of intimidating guests, her best friend Lily deserved the perfect wedding toast, and Olivia refused to let her social anxiety ruin this moment. Just as she reached for the glass, a large hand closed around it first. "Excuse me?" Olivia's voice came out sharper than intended. She looked up into the most striking blue eyes she had ever seen, belonging to a man who towered over her with a kind of presence that commanded attention without trying. His dark hair was perfectly styled, his jaw sharp enough to cut glass, and his black tuxedo fit him like it had been crafted specifically for his broad shoulders. He lifted one dark eyebrow, clearly amused. "I don't see your name on it." His voice was deep and smooth, with an edge of arrogance that made Olivia's blood simmer. She placed a hand on her hip, tilting her chin up defiantly. "It's common decency. That was the last one, and I've been waiting here for 5 minutes while you waltzed in and snatched it." The man chuckled, unfazed by her irritation. "I didn't realize weddings had official champagne reservation policies." He took a deliberate sip, his eyes gleaming with mischief.
Ow.
Olivia crossed her arms. Unbelievable. "Do you have a habit of stealing things that don't belong to you? Only when it's worth the trouble." His smirk was infuriating and somehow magnetic. At the same time, there was something maddening about him. He was ridiculously handsome, with the kind of dangerous charm that probably had women throwing themselves at his feet. But his arrogance was suffocating, and Olivia had dealt with enough. Entitled men to last a lifetime. "Enjoy your champagne," she said, turning away before she could say something she would regret. "Wait." His voice stopped her cold. When she turned back, he was holding out the glass, his expression suddenly softer. "Take it," she hesitated, suspicious. "Why this sudden generosity?" He shrugged. "You fought for it. You deserve the victory." Rolling her eyes, she took the flute. Their fingers brushed for the briefest second, and a strange spark zipped up her arm. She ignored it, instead, taking a sip while maintaining eye contact. "Glad you finally learned some manners." He chuckled, again, shaking his head. "You're something else, and you're insufferable." "I get that a lot," he replied easily, then extended his hand. "Since we've already fought over alcohol, we might as well introduce ourselves. I'm Daniel." She shook his hand briefly, trying not to notice how firm and warm his grip was. "Olivia." His gaze flickered over her as if memorizing every detail. "Are you with the bride or the groom?" "Bride." "My best friend Lily," Olivia replied, feeling herself relax slightly, despite her better judgment. "You?" He hesitated for a second before answering. "Groom." She narrowed her eyes. "You don't sound sure about that." He gave a lazy grin. "Maybe I just like keeping people guessing." Before she could question him further, the music changed, and the bride and groom took the dance floor for their first dance. Guests turned to watch, and the romantic atmosphere filled the air. Olivia felt a pang of warmth for her best friend, so happy and in love. Daniel stood beside her, watching the couple with an unreadable expression. "Do you believe in love like that?" he asked suddenly. She blinked at him, caught off guard. "Like what? Like the kind where nothing else matters? Where someone chooses you no matter what?" Olivia hesitated. "I want to believe in it." He tilted his head. "But people have a habit of letting you down. His gaze lingered on her, something unreadable flashing across his face. She was about to speak when an older woman approached. Daniel with a warm smile. "Daniel, darling, I've been looking for you." Olivia watched as the woman, who looked like she belonged on the cover of a high-fashion magazine, wrapped her arms around him. She was elegant, poised, and dripping in diamonds. "Mom," Daniel said, returning the hug. Olivia's stomach twisted. His mother looked like royalty, dressed in a designer gown that probably cost more than Olivia made in a year. Then suddenly, it clicked, the way he carried himself. The effortless confidence, the air of power. Daniel Sterling. Billionaire Daniel Sterling. Our heart nearly stopped. She had just spent the last 10 minutes arguing with one of the wealthiest, most powerful men in the country, and he had been amused by it. Daniel turned back to her, smirking slightly. "Something wrong, Olivia?" She composed herself quickly, forcing a smile. Not at all. But as she took another sip of champagne, she had the sinking feeling that she had just stepped into something far more complicated than she had ever imagined. Olivia kept her expression neutral, but her mind raced. Daniel Sterling, the man she had just verbally sparred with over champagne, was one of the most powerful men in the country. She had heard his name whispered in business circles, seen his face on magazine covers, but she had never expected to meet him, let alone argue with him. "You look like you've seen a ghost," Daniel mused, amusement still lingering in his voice. Olivia shrugged, forcing herself to remain composed. "You're just surprised. You're not exactly the type of person I expected to meet tonight." "And what type is that?" "The kind who casually steals the last glass of champagne," she teased, keeping her tone light despite the tension coiling in her chest. His chuckle was low and genuinely entertained. "I suppose that's fair." Before she could respond, his mother placed an elegant hand on his arm. "You should introduce me to your friend, Daniel." "Olivia Parker," she said politely, extending her hand. The woman accepted it with a graceful shake. "Eleanor Sterling. Lovely to meet you, my dear. How do you know my son?" Olivia hesitated, unsure how to explain that they had met less than 20 minutes ago over a champagne dispute. Daniel stepped in smoothly. "We were just having a discussion about whether I have terrible manners." Eleanor's lips twitched with amusement. "Were you now?" She turned to Olivia with curious eyes. "And what was the verdict?" Olivia met Daniel's gaze, then smiled slightly, still under deliberation. His mother laughed lightly. "I do hope." "You'll be kind in your ruling." Daniel leaned in slightly, lowering his voice just for Olivia. "I wouldn't count on it." The warmth in his tone sent a strange flutter through her, but she quickly pushed it aside. A voice from across the room called Eleanor's name, and she excused herself gracefully. As she walked away, Olivia turned back to Daniel, exhaling slowly. That was unexpected. Daniel studied her, his expression unreadable. "You're not the type to be impressed by wealth, are you?" She raised an eyebrow. "Should I be?" "Most people are." "I'm not most people." Something shifted in his eyes, a flicker of genuine interest replacing the playful arrogance. "Oh, you're definitely not." The conversation was interrupted by a commotion. Near the entrance, a man in an expensive suit was arguing loudly with security, his face red with anger and alcohol. Olivia recognized him immediately, and her blood turned to ice. Marcus Webb, her ex-boss. The man who had destroyed her career and tried to destroy much more. "Olivia." Marcus's voice boomed across the ballroom as he spotted her. Several guests turned to stare. "There's my favorite little secretary. Still playing dress-up, I see." Daniel's posture changed instantly, becoming predatory and alert. "Friend of yours? Former boss?" Olivia said quietly, her voice tight. "This isn't good." Marcus pushed past a security guard and stumbled toward them, his eyes blazing with malicious intent. "No, Sterling, you should be careful about the company you keep. This one has quite the reputation for sleeping her way to the top." The words hit Olivia like a physical blow. She felt the color drain from her face as nearby guests began to whisper and stare. This was her worst nightmare, playing out in front of the most powerful man she had ever met. "That's enough." Daniel's voice was low and dangerous, filled with a quiet authority that made Marcus take a step back. But Marcus was too drunk and too angry to be intimidated. "Oh, she didn't tell you? Sweet little Olivia here tried to blackmail me after I caught her stealing company files. Had to fire her for corporate espionage." "You're lying," Olivia whispered, but her voice was lost. In the growing murmur of the crowd, Daniel looked between them, his jaw clenched tight. For a moment, uncertainty flickered in his eyes, and Olivia's heart shattered. Even he was beginning to doubt her. "Security," Marcus called out dramatically. "This woman shouldn't be here. She's a criminal." The guards moved toward Olivia, and panic seized her chest. She couldn't breathe. The walls felt like they were closing in. Without another word, she turned and fled through the crowd, pushing past startled guests toward the nearest exit. She burst through the French doors onto the moonlit terrace, gasping for air. The cool night breeze hit her face, but it did nothing to calm the storm raging inside her. Her hands shook as she gripped the stone railing, fighting back tears of rage and humiliation. Footsteps approached behind her and she tensed, expecting security. Instead, Daniel's voice cut through the darkness. "Are you going to tell me what really happened, or do I have to guess?" She turned to face him, her eyes blazing with defiance and pain. "Why? So you can decide whether I'm worth defending?" "Saw that look in your eyes back there? You believed him." Daniel stepped closer, his face serious in the moonlight. "I didn't believe anything, but I need to know the truth. The truth." Olivia laughed bitterly. "The truth is that Marcus Webb is a predator who uses his power to destroy women who won't sleep with him. I refused, so he made sure I would never work in corporate finance again. The files. I was gathering evidence of his harassment, his corruption, the bribes he was taking, but he found out before I could expose him." She wiped away a tear angrily. "So now I work 3 jobs just to pay rent, while he gets to attend fancy weddings and destroy what's left of my reputation." Daniel was quiet for a long moment, studying her face in the silver light. When he finally spoke, his voice was deadly. "Calm. He's going to pay for what he did to you." The promise in his words sent a shiver down her spine. There was something dark and dangerous in Daniel's eyes, something that told her he was capable of far more than she had imagined. "You don't understand," she whispered. "Men like him always win. Men like you protect each other." Daniel stepped closer, close enough that she could see the storm brewing in his blue eyes. "You're wrong about me, Olivia, and you're about to find out just how wrong." His phone buzzed, and he glanced down at it. His expression darkened further as he read. "The message. What is it?" He looked up at her, and for the first time since they met, she saw something that looked almost like fear in his eyes. "We need to talk, but not here, not tonight." He handed her his card. "Tomorrow. There are things about me you need to know. Before this goes any further." As he turned to leave, Olivia called after him. "Daniel, wait. What things?" He paused at the doorway, his silhouette framed against the golden light from the ballroom. When he looked back, his expression was haunted. "Things that will make you realize that Marcus Webb is the least of our problems." The next evening, Olivia stood outside Sterling Industries' corporate headquarters, Daniel's business card trembling in her hand. The 40-story glass tower stretched into the dark sky like a monument to power and wealth. She almost turned around 3 times, but something about the haunted look in Daniel's eyes the night before kept her moving forward. The elevator ride to the top floor felt endless. When the doors opened, she was greeted by a receptionist who looked like she belonged. "On a runway, Miss Parker? Mr. Sterling is waiting for you in his office." The office was a testament to success. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, expensive art on the walls, and a desk that probably cost more than most people's cars. What? It was the man behind it who commanded her attention. Daniel stood, with his back to her, staring out at the glittering cityscape. He had traded his tuxedo for a tailored charcoal suit, but he still carried that same dangerous magnetism that had drawn her in at the wedding. "You came," he said without turning around. "You said there were things I needed to know." He turned, slowly, and she was struck again by how beautiful and terrifying he was. "Sit down, Olivia." She remained standing, crossing her arms defensively. "I prefer to stand." A ghost of a smile crossed his lips. Still fighting me, even here, especially. Here. He moved to a bar cart in the corner and poured 2 glasses of whiskey. About last night. Marcus Webb. What about him? Daniel handed her a glass. He won't be bothering you anymore. Olivia frowned. What do you mean? I mean his company. Just lost their biggest contract. Their board called an emergency meeting this morning, and by tomorrow, he'll be lucky if he can get a job selling insurance in Nebraska. The glass slipped from her fingers, shattering against the marble floor. You destroyed him. I destroyed a predator who hurt you. There's a difference in less than 24 hours. Daniel's expression was cold, calculating. I have resources, Olivia. When I want something gone, it disappears. The casual way he said it sent ice through her veins. This wasn't just wealth. This was power on a level she couldn't comprehend. Who are you? She whispered. That's what I brought you here to discuss. He moved to his desk, pressing a button. The windows immediately darkened, and the door locked with an audible click. What I'm about to tell you cannot leave this room. Fear and excitement warred in her chest. Daniel, you're scaring me. Good, you should be scared. He sat on the edge of his desk, studying her with intense blue eyes. Sterling Industries isn't just a corporation, Olivia. It's the front for something much larger. Something that governments pay me to keep quiet about. I don't understand. Information, secrets, the kind that topple governments and start wars. I know things about world leaders that could reshape global politics. I have files on every major corporation, every powerful family, every secret that matters. His voice was calm, matter of fact. People like Marcus Webb are insects compared to what I really do. Olivia backed toward the door, her heart hammering. You're talking about blackmail? Espionage? Talking about survival? In a world where information is the ultimate currency, I'm the richest man alive. He stood, moving toward her with predatory grace. And now you know. Why are you telling me this? Because last night changed something. The way you stood up to me, the way you refused to be impressed by my money, the way you looked at me like I was just a man instead of a weapon. His voice dropped to a whisper. I haven't felt human in years, Olivia. Not until you, she pressed. Her back against the locked door. Let me out. I can't do that. You can't keep me here. I can't let you leave knowing what you know. Not unless. Unless what? Unless you stay. Work for me. Let me protect you. Protect me from what? Daniel's expression darkened. The people who will kill you now that you know my secret. Room spun around her. You're insane. You think Marcus Webb was dangerous? The people I deal with make him look like a choir boy. They'll torture you for information about me, and when they realize you don't have any, they'll kill you. Just to send me a message? Tears of rage and terror streamed down her face. You've destroyed my life. No, Olivia. I've saved it, only if you trust me. Before she could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and his face went white. Said from the other side of the room. They spun around to see a woman emerge from behind a bookshelf, pointing a gun at both of them. She was beautiful, deadly, and completely calm. Hello, Danny, she said with a cold smile. Miss me? Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. Sophia. The woman's laugh was like breaking glass. Surprised? You shouldn't be. You know I always find you eventually, Olivia? Get behind me, Daniel said quietly. Oh, how sweet, Sophia cooed. The ruthless Daniel Sterling has found himself a pet. Does she know what you did to me, Danny? Does she know why I spent 3 years in a Russian prison because of you? Olivia looked between them, her mind reeling. Ah, Daniel, who is she? Someone I used to love, he said, never taking his eyes off the gun. Someone I had to betray to survive. Sophia's finger moved to the trigger. And now it's time for you to pay. The phone on Daniel's desk rang again, its shrill tone cutting through the tension. Sophia's eyes flicked toward it for just a moment. It was all the opening Daniel needed. He lunged forward, tackling Sophia to the ground. The gun went off, the bullet shattering the window behind Olivia's head. They fought with deadly precision, both trained killers who knew each other's weaknesses. Run, Daniel shouted as he wrestled for control of the weapon. But Olivia couldn't move. She watched in horror as the man she was beginning to fall for revealed himself as something far more dangerous than she had ever imagined. When Daniel finally gained control of the gun, Sophia was unconscious on the floor. He stood slowly, blood trickling from a cut above his eye, and looked at Olivia with an expression of devastating sadness. "Now you know who I really am," Olivia's voice was barely a whisper. "A killer, when I have to be." He set the gun on his desk and moved toward her carefully. "But never with you. I would never hurt you, Olivia. How can I believe anything you say? Because despite everything, despite all the lies and the danger and the blood on my hands, what I feel for you is the only real thing in my life." Sophia stirred on the floor, groaning softly. Daniel's expression hardened. "We have to go now. She won't stay down long, and when she wakes up, she'll call in reinforcements." He grabbed a black bag from behind his desk and took Olivia's hand. "I know you're scared. I know you want to run from me. But if you leave now, you'll be dead by morning." As they rushed toward a hidden elevator behind his bookshelf, Olivia realized that everything she thought she knew about her life had just been shattered. The man whose hand she was holding, the man who made her feel alive for the first time in years, this might be the most dangerous person she would ever meet. But as the elevator doors closed behind them and Daniel's arm tightened protectively around her waist, she also realized something else. She was falling in love with him anyway. The safe house was a penthouse apartment in the financial district, anonymous and sterile. Daniel moved through it like a ghost, checking weapons, scanning security monitors, making calls in languages Olivia didn't recognize. She sat on the leather couch, watching him transform from the charming man she met at the wedding into something cold and lethal. "How long have you been living like this?" she asked, when he finally sat down across from her. 15 years. He poured himself another whiskey, his third since they arrived. "Since my father was murdered." The words hit her like a physical blow. Daniel, he built Sterling Industries as a legitimate business. But when you have that much power, that much influence, people come to you with offers. Information for money, secrets for protection. His voice was hollow, haunted. He refused. Said he wouldn't become a criminal, so they killed him and made it look like a heart attack. I was 25, fresh out of Harvard, completely naive about the world I was inheriting. Daniel's laugh was bitter. "Sophia was there that night we were engaged. I thought she was the love of my life." Olivia felt a stab of jealousy mixed with dread. What happened? She was working for them, the people who killed my father. She was supposed to seduce me, get close to me then, eliminate me once they had control of the company. He met her eyes. But somewhere along the way, she fell in love with me. Really fell in love. And you, I loved her too? Till I found out the truth. The pain in his voice was raw, real. Olivia found herself moving closer to him on the couch. "How did you find out?" "I hired investigators to look into my father's death. They traced everything back to a Russian syndicate." And to her, Daniel's hands clenched into fists. "She begged me to run away with her, said we could disappear, start over somewhere new. But you didn't. I couldn't. Too many people were counting on me. Too many lives were at stake." His voice dropped to a whisper. "So I used her. Fed her false information. Let her think she was still playing me. And when she led me to the people who killed my father, you destroyed them. All of them, but Sophia got caught in the crossfire. She went to prison for crimes I made sure she would be blamed for." Daniel looked at her with eyes full of regret. "I told myself it was justice, but really I was just a heartbroken boy playing with forces I didn't understand." Olivia reached out and took his hand. "You were protecting yourself? Was I? Or was I becoming exactly what they wanted me to become? Killer, a manipulator, someone who uses people and discards them when they're no longer useful. You're not that person. How can you say that? You've seen what I'm capable of. Also seen how you look at me." She moved closer, her voice soft. "The man who gave me his champagne, who destroyed my enemy without being asked, who's risking everything to keep me safe. That's not a monster, Daniel. That's a man who cares." For a moment, hope flickered in his eyes. Then his phone buzzed with an incoming message. His face went ashen as he read it. What is it? They have Lily. The world tilted sideways. What? Daniel showed her the screen. It was a photo of her best friend, bound and gagged with a message. Trade the girl for the information. Midnight. Come alone. No. Olivia shot to her feet, panic consuming her. No, they can't have her. She's innocent. She has nothing to do with this. They know that. That's why they took her. They know I care about you, and they know you care about her. Daniel was already moving, gathering weapons and equipment. It's the perfect leverage. We have to save her. We can't. It's a trap. They'll kill all three of us. Olivia grabbed his arm. Hey, I don't care. I won't let her die because of me. I won't let you walk into a death trap. Then what do you suggest? Let them murder my best friend. Daniel stopped moving, his shoulders sagging under the weight of an impossible decision. There is one. Option, but you won't like it. Tell me. I give them what they want. The files. The information I've spent 15 years collecting. What happens if you do that? Chaos, wars, governments fall, millions of people die. His voice was matter-of-fact, terrifying in its calmness. But Lily lives, and so do you. Olivia stared at him in horror. Can't seriously be considering this. For you, it's burn the world down. The raw honesty in his voice took her breath away. This was the moment she realized the true depth of what had grown between them. This wasn't just attraction or infatuation. This was love so deep and dangerous, it could reshape the world. It has to be another way. There is. His voice was quiet, resigned. I go alone. I trade myself for her. No, they want me dead more than they want the information. If I surrender myself, they might let you both go. Might isn't good enough. It's the best chance we have. Olivia felt tears streaming down her face. I can't lose you. Not now. Not when I'm finally what? Finally falling in love. Daniel crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled her into his arms. His kiss was desperate, fierce, filled with everything they might never have the chance to say. When they broke apart, his forehead rested against hers. I love you too, he whispered. More than I've ever loved anything. Which is why I have. To do this, Daniel, please, promise me something. If I don't make it back, if something happens to me, promise you'll disappear. Take the money in the safe, change your name, and live the life you deserve. I'm not leaving without you. Promise me. Before she could answer, the lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. Daniel's body went rigid with alertness. They found us. The sound of shattering glass came from the bedroom. Footsteps. Voices speaking in Russian. How many exits? Olivia whispered. 1. And they're blocking it. So what do we do? Daniel looked at her with an expression of terrible resolve. We fight our way out, together. He handed her a gun, and she was surprised by how natural it felt in her hands. Do you know how to use this? My father was military. He taught me. To shoot when I was 10, smile ghosted across Daniel's lips. Just when I think I know you, you surprise me again. The door exploded inward, and armed figures in black tactical gear poured into the room. Daniel and Olivia moved as one, finding cover behind the kitchen island. Gunfire erupted around them, splintering wood and shattering glass. On my count, Daniel shouted over the chaos, "We go for the window. It's 40 floors up. Trust me." As bullets flew over their heads, Olivia realized that trusting Daniel Sterling might be the last decision she ever made. But looking at his fierce, determined face, she knew it was also the easiest. I trust you, she said. The smile was brilliant and heartbreaking. Then let's go save your best friend. The warehouse at midnight was a cathedral of shadows and steel. Daniel and Olivia crouched behind shipping containers, watching the exchange point through night vision scopes. Lily hung suspended from chains in the center of the space, unconscious but breathing. 30 armed guards, Daniel whispered. Sophia's at 12 o'clock with the Russian contingent. They're expecting me to walk in alone, which you're not going to do. No, we're going to give them something better. He handed her a small device. When I signal, press this. It will upload a virus to their communications network, and give us maybe 3 minutes before they can coordinate. Olivia studied his face in the green glow of the scope. What aren't you telling me? Daniel was quiet for a long moment. The device does more than that. It also transmits the location of every government black site. Every covert operation, every classified program I have files on. To every major news network in the world simultaneously. Her blood went cold. You're going to expose everything. It's the only way to end this. When those secrets become public, the power structures that have controlled the world for decades will crumble, including mine. You'll lose everything. I've already lost everything that mattered. My father, my innocence. 15 years of my life. His eyes found hers in the darkness. But I found something worth more than power, Olivia. I found you, and I won't let them take that away. Before she could respond, spotlights blazed to life, illuminating the warehouse-like day. Sophia's voice echoed through speakers mounted on the walls. Daniel Sterling, I know you're here. You have 10 minutes to show yourself, or your friend dies. Change of plan, Daniel said grimly. I'm going in, not alone. Olivia, we do this together, or we don't do it at all. Something fierce and proud blazed in his eyes. You realize this is probably suicide. Then we die together. I can think of worse ways to go. They moved through the shadows like ghosts, using the maze of containers and machinery to get closer. To the center. When they were 50 feet away, Daniel squeezed her hand. Whatever happens, I need you to know something. These past few days with you have been the most alive I've felt since I was a child. You gave me back my humanity.
Daniel, I love you. Olivia Parker. In whatever life comes after this one, I'll find you again. He kissed her once, swift and
desperate, then stood up. Sophia, called out, stepping into the open. Let's finish this. The Russian woman smiled as guards surrounded him. It's the famous Daniel Sterling. You look older, Danny. More tired. Prison will do that to a person. Oh, I hear you've adapted well to the lifestyle. Her laugh was sharp as breaking glass. 3 years in a Siberian cell, thinking about what I would do to you when I got out? 3 years planning your death? And yet here we are, negotiating like civilized people. Oh, this isn't a negotiation. Sophia nodded to her men, who raised their weapons. This is an execution. That's when Olivia pressed the button. The warehouse erupted into chaos. Lights flickered, communications crackled with static, and guards shouted in confusion as their equipment failed. Daniel moved like lightning, diving for cover as bullets filled the air where he had been standing. Olivia emerged from behind her container, firing with deadly precision. Her father's military training served her well as she cut down 3 guards. Before they could react, but there were too many of them. Files. Sophia screamed over the gunfire. Find the device. Daniel fought his way toward Lily, using every skill he had learned in 15 years of survival. Bodies fell around him as he moved with lethal efficiency through the chaos. But Sophia was waiting for him. "Low lover," she purred, pointing her gun at his chest. "Miss me?" Every day he lied smoothly, calculating angles and distances. Liar. She pulled the trigger. The bullet caught him in the shoulder, spinning him around, hit the ground hard, blood pooling beneath him. Sophia stood over him, savoring the moment. You destroyed my life, Danny. Everything I was, everything I could have been. Now it's your turn to lose everything. She turned the gun toward Olivia, who was pinned down behind a forklift, ammunition running low. No. Daniel's voice was weak, but determined. So with his last strength, he pulled a grenade from his vest. You want me dead? Fine. But she walks away.
Ow.
Daniel, don't. Olivia's scream echoed through the warehouse. I'm sorry, he whispered, looking at her across the chaos. I'm sorry I couldn't give you the life you deserved. His finger moved toward the pin. Stop! Sophia's face went white. You're bluffing. You wouldn't kill yourself just to save her. Daniel smiled, and for the first time in 15 years, it was completely genuine. You never understood, Sophia. Love isn't about possession. It's about sacrifice. He pulled the pin. Time seemed too slow. Olivia watched in horror as the man she loved prepared to die for her. But as the grenade left his hand, she saw something Sophia didn't. The countdown had been altered. Instead of 3 seconds, they had 10. Enough time for one last miracle. The explosion rocked the warehouse, bringing down steel beams and concrete. When the dust settled, Sophia lay motionless beneath a collapsed wall. Her men were dead or scattered, and somehow impossibly, Daniel was still breathing. Olivia reached him first, cradling his head in her lap as blood seeped through his shirt. "You idiot," she sobbed. "You beautiful, stupid idiot. Did it work?" he whispered. She looked at her phone, where news alerts were already streaming in. Government scandals, corporate corruption, secret programs exposed to the world. The virus had done its job. "It's over," she said. "All of it. The secrets are out. The power structures are crumbling." "Good." His eyes found hers. "What about us? Is there an us in this new world?" Olivia looked around at the destruction. At the end of everything Daniel had built his life around, then she looked at the man who had risked it all for her. "There's whatever we make it," she said. "No more lies, no more secrets, just us." "Just us," he repeated, and closed his eyes. 6 months later, Olivia sat in a small cafe in Prague. Reading the morning paper, the Sterling Industries scandal had indeed changed everything. Governments had fallen, CEOs had been arrested, and the world was slowly rebuilding itself with a little more transparency and a little less shadow. Daniel Sterling, according to the official reports, had died in the warehouse explosion. His body had never been found. But the man who walked into the cafe and sat across from her, his hair darker now, and his face bearing new scars, was very much alive. "How's the shoulder?" she asked, without looking up from her paper. "Getting better?" "Oh, the doctor says I'll have full range of motion in another month." "Good. I have plans that require full range of motion." His laugh was warm, genuine, free of the darkness that had haunted him for so long. "I love it when you're mysterious. I learn from the best." He reached across the table and took her hand. "Any regrets?" Olivia thought about her old life, her corporate job, her small apartment, her predictable existence. Then she thought about the man across from her, about the dangerous love that had destroyed their old worlds and built something new in their place. "Just one," she said. His face fell slightly. "What's that?" She smiled, the expression full of mischief and promise. "I wish I'd fought harder for that champagne at the wedding. We could have skipped all the drama and gone straight to this part." Daniel threw back his head and laughed, and Olivia realized that this moment, this man, this impossible love that had survived everything was worth every secret, every lie, every moment of terror they had endured. They had lost everything and gained the only thing that mattered, each other, at the end.